Hello. What I want to talk to you about today is this here French, we could call it a musket. It's made in the French military arsenals, but it's a French Fusil de Chasse. And in 1695 and 96, there was military contracts called for. Both years they asked for 5 hunting muskets that were 28 balls to the pound, or about 56 caliber, 45 inches in overall length. So they probably had a 30-inch barrel, but they were to be presented to native chiefs. And they would later be developed into what we call the Fusil fin, or fine fusil. They were like presentation pieces. They would be nicely worked. And the French also, at that time, that's when they started making these, this is sold as a Fusil de Chasse. I have to wonder if it's not a Fusil de Trait, which was a little bit cheaper version. But anyway, as you can see, it's a French flintlock. These were produced from the 1690s all the way up to the early 1800s. I know they were still being produced by the War of 1812, because some of them then actually had 36-inch barrels. This one has a 44-inch barrel in 62 caliber. That was about their standard pattern for this gun. Most of them, you could order them, if you want a special order one, you could order them in different calibers, but mostly what was shipped here into the colonies was 62 caliber, 44-inch barrel length. Native Americans really liked these guns. They actually preferred them over the English guns, English fusils and stuff. And like I said, they were made at the Thule Arsenal, so I don't know if you'll be able to see it. I'll zoom in on the lock. It actually has Thule stamped on here. This is an Indian-made reproduction. I'm not sure which importer imported this, because I picked it up secondhand from a friend of mine. And like I said, it's got a 44-inch barrel. Let me tip it up here. And what I really like, it's octagoned around, and it's got the nice 2 wedding rings, barrel bands on it. I've seen nicer guns than this, as far as like Centermark used to make a copy. A friend of mine got one with a cherry stock and with the dragon side plate, because that's one of the things I want to talk about is the side plate on this. A lot of your, especially your fancier Fusil de Chasses and Fusil fin, has the serpent or dragon. This has almost like the military, a little bit fancier than the regular military side plate. It's got iron furniture, although you could get them, they could be in brass. Basic your French, it's basically a scaled down version of the French musket of the day. And I don't have a musket from the 1690s, like the Fusil Ordinaire, or the Militaire Ordinaire, I should say, or the Fusil Militaire Grenadier. But I do have, let me move over here and get it, this right here, which is similar to the 1695 Grenadier musket. And I'm not going to go over all the details, except if you look at the stocks on these, you can see they both have about the same stock. And of course, this is a 1717 French infantry musket. It also has the pin barrels like this, but it does have a barrel band for the sling, which also the 1695 Grenadier had. This, where the regular French infantry musket did not have the barrel band. And it's also cut for a bayonet and stuff. I'll do a video on this one at some other time, but you can see the influences here that They're very similar, and let me set this back out of the way. But the early French muskets, and my 1728 also has what they call the cow foot. And I looked up the name in French for it, and I can't remember it, and I probably couldn't pronounce it properly anyway. But anyway, this is what's known as a cow foot buttstock. And I really like this buttstock because what it does is it helps to soften the recoil. Instead of coming straight, it actually forces the gun to kind of rock up when you fire it. And it's very similar to shooting my 62 caliber with the club butt. It has the rounded upper part on it, so when I fire it, it tends to come straight up. Like, you know, the recoil will bring the gun up, so it's not pushing straight back into you. You don't have quite as much felt recoil. There's probably better videos out on YouTube about the Fusil de Chasse, but like I said, I got this one recently. I've taken it out. I've actually shot some ball in it. I need to practice more because I only hit paper once with it, but that's more learning with the sight on this. They have that big brass sight, and I figured out that I was trying to draw leaving too much sticking up, and you about just have to pull a fine bead off the flat here to actually get it to actually hit what you're aiming at, because otherwise it tends to shoot high on this particular gun. And that's just a matter of actually going and spending time at the range, which I, like I said, I just got it back this spring, and I just took it out a couple weeks ago. Me and my son shot it at the range. Got some short videos out on that, and then I shot it this past weekend at the Museum of the Waxhaw. Fire! Pretty good. I had a few misfires. First time it was just a flint where I'd shot it a couple weeks before. I should have checked the flint, so I ended up putting a new flint in it. And then we had some issues with high humidity, and the powder residue gumming up on the bottom of the flint. But that's not an issue with the gun. That was the weather conditions and me not paying attention to what it was doing. I should have wiped it a little more often. But I like it. The gun weighs probably 7 pounds or so. It's really lightweight. I kind of like that. And like I said, once I get it down to where I can hit what I'm aiming at with it, which just takes me spending time at the range with it, more than just going out and shooting like 5 rounds, which we did the other day, and my son was shooting it part of the time. But it's a nice little gun. I like the carvings on it. This here, it's a very simple beaver tail, but carving around the stock. And I'm not sure if they carried that carving through the production of these, or if this was an earlier thing. Because I know with Brown Bessets it's an early thing, and then as time went on, they quit putting it on there. But I'm not sure with the French guns. I'll need to do more research on that. Anyway, that's pretty much all I've got to say about this, so I appreciate you watching the video, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.